Unexpected news just leaked. United fans. Manchester United has been rocked by three powerful stories that are sending shockwaves through Old Trafford this very moment. From a heartbreaking injury to a brave decision that could shape a career and a fiery derby prediction that has fans on edge, today's updates are nothing short of explosive. This is not just news, it's drama, tension, and passion all wrapped into one. The kind of day where every headline feels like it could change the mood of the season in an instant. Now confirmed at Manchester United. Emotions are running high, and the stakes could not be bigger. A youngster faces his toughest challenge yet, a defender stands firm in the face of pressure, and a legend of the club has spoken out about the clash that divides the city. Each story pulls us closer to the heartbeat of United, where triumph and struggle live side by side. Don't miss a second of it. Make sure you subscribe right now and join us as we dive into all the breaking news. Kai Rooney has broken hearts across the fan base with a raw message that shows just how tough football can be for a young lad on the rise. The teenager, aiming to climb the ladder at Carrington, shared that his life can't get worse after picking up an injury that's left him on crutches. It's a cruel pause for a player building his own name, separate from any family legacy, and doing it the right way, by scoring goals and working hard every day. For a 15-year-old, the spotlight is heavy, but he's handled it with calm. This setback stings now, but it needn't define him. Not at Manchester United. Kai Rooney has been catching the eye for the youth teams with clever movement and a fine left-footed strike. Not long ago, he smashed in a lovely volley and earned a call-up to the under-19s, training with older lads and learning fast. That's the step you want to see, a steady climb, not a mad dash. And then, in a moment, football's harsh side arrived. A boot, a twist, a bang. Suddenly you're sidelined, your plan scattered. It's the sort of shock that rattles any youngster. But United's academy has seen this before, and they know how to guide a talent through the rough patches. Kai Rooney posted on Instagram to say how awful he felt, adding a crying emoji and showing a protective boot on his right foot, which isn't his stronger side. That picture told a story many young players know too well. The fear of losing momentum, the worry that others might race ahead. Yet injuries are part of football. They test your patience and your love of the game. The key is what follows: the rehab, the discipline, the attitude. With the right help around him, this can become a chapter he looks back on with pride, not pain. The exact nature of the injury hasn't been revealed, and no clear timeline has been set. That uncertainty can be the hardest bit, because you can't circle a date on the calendar and count down. But there's a hopeful tone beneath the frustration. Sometimes a strong mindset shortens a road that seems endless at the start. United's medical staff are experienced, the coaches are patient, and the family support will be strong. Put those together, and you've got a path back that feels real, not just a wish whispered in the dark. Pressure is different for him. It's not only the badge, which demands excellence every single day, but also the surname, which draws comparisons nobody truly needs at that age. He's dodged most of that by letting his football speak. Smart runs, clean finishes, and a habit of turning up in the right place at the right time. People who watch him closely talk about his hunger, not his history. That's crucial. The best young players form their own identity early, and his has been forming nicely until this bump in the road. A bump, not a brick wall. There had been real excitement about his progress, moving up age groups, facing older defenders, and learning to deal with the physical side of the game. When a kid steps into under-19 football at 15, it's a sign the coaches trust his brain as much as his boots. The next step would have been more minutes, more responsibility, and perhaps another goal or two to keep confidence bubbling. Now, it's about taking the long view, strengthen the body, sharpen the mind, and return with the same spark that got him noticed in the first place. Supporters had started whispering about bigger things, as fans always do when a youngster lights it up. That's natural, but development is rarely a straight line. One week you're flying, the next you're icing an ankle. What matters is the environment. At United, the academy culture is strong, the coaching is clear, and the standards never drop. He'll be taught how to manage the layoff and how to use the time well, study the game, build strength, and keep the joy alive. Joy is the secret sauce at that age. Lose it, and the game feels heavy. Keep it, and anything's possible. There's been talk of his role, able to play in midfield or wide areas, and that flexibility is golden in modern football. It gives coaches options and gives the player more ways to get on the pitch. As he matures, he'll likely settle into the zones where his instincts shine brightest, perhaps arriving late into the box or pulling defenders out of shape. For now, the key lesson is resilience. He's already shown he can step up levels, so stepping back from a setback becomes another proof point. He'll learn, adapt, and find that rhythm again. There's comfort in small wins during rehab. One day the swelling is down, the next day the boot feels looser, then you take a few careful steps without crutches. Those little moments stack up. For a teenager, celebrating those steps matters as much as celebrating goals. Friends will message, coaches will check in, and family will keep perspective. And when he returns to the grass, the ball will still feel like an old friend waiting where he left it. That first decent touchback is often the moment the clouds start to lift. Wayne Rooney has spoken publicly about keeping things simple for his son, letting him play, learn, and enjoy it like a normal kid. That measured approach will help now more than ever. Strip it back to basics, heal, rebuild, return. The shirt will still be red, the goals still matter, and the crowd will still roar for a young player who gives everything. If he holds his nerve through this period, he can come back smarter, stronger, and hungry as ever. Injuries don't end dreams at United. Handled well, they can forge them. Tyrell Malaysia has once again become the subject of strong debate at Manchester United after refusing a loan move to Turkish side Eyüpspor. The club had accepted the proposal, seeing it as an opportunity for the defender to gain regular football, but the player himself turned it down. That decision has left his future hanging in the balance, as he now faces a season with no clear pathway into the first team. For a player once tipped to be a cornerstone of United's defense, it feels like a crossroads moment. His choice not to take the offer shows he is determined to control his own destiny, even if it complicates matters. Tyrell Malaysia has endured a difficult spell since arriving at Old Trafford. Signed with high hopes, his first season showed glimpses of promise, energy on the flank, sharp recovery pace, and a willingness to push forward. But injuries, inconsistency, and stiff competition have hampered his progress. A loan spell at PSV Eindhoven briefly revived his career, with the Dutch side clinching the Eredivisie title. It was a high point that reminded everyone of his qualities. Yet PSV opted not to make the deal permanent, leaving Malaysia back in Manchester, but without certainty about his role. Tyrell Malaysia was reintegrated into Erik ten Hag's squad during pre-season, but it quickly became clear that he was not in the manager's long-term plans. United have looked at other defensive options, with competition on the left side already fierce. Malaysia found himself training, waiting, but not featuring prominently in ten Hag's tactical blueprint. The arrival of new signings has only pushed him further down the pecking order. In this context, a loan seemed the most practical outcome. It would have offered him minutes, confidence, and the chance to showcase his talent once more. Tyrell Malaysia came close to joining Elche before the summer window closed across most of Europe. Negotiations had advanced, but last-minute disagreements over buy clauses caused the deal to collapse. It was a major blow, because the Spanish option appeared ideal: a competitive league, a team eager for his services, and a chance to rebuild his reputation. With the collapse of that move, time was running out, and only a handful of markets remained open. That's when the Turkish opportunity appeared, keeping hope alive for a few more days. Tyrell Malaysia, however, did not show enthusiasm for the Eyüpspor move. Reports suggested he was unconvinced by the project and reluctant to commit to a club where he might not feel settled. Players often weigh more than football when considering transfers: lifestyle, language, culture, and career trajectory. For Malaysia, the Turkish offer did not tick enough boxes. By refusing, he sent a strong signal: he will not move for the sake of moving. It's a bold stance, but one that could carry risks if he struggles for opportunities back at United. Tyrell Malaysia is now at a delicate stage in his career. At 26, he is no longer the prospect learning his trade. He is expected to be entering his prime. For a defender, these years are crucial to cement reputation and experience. United supporters once hoped he could be the long-term solution at left-back, combining defensive grit with attacking intent. Instead, he finds himself on the fringes, facing questions about his next steps. Without consistent football, The sharpness fades, and opportunities become fewer. Time is ticking for him to make a decisive breakthrough. Tyrell Malaysia's refusal of two loan options, Elshani Upspa, reflects both self-belief and caution. He clearly wants to choose the right move, not just any move. That attitude is understandable, but football careers can be unforgiving when momentum is lost. A season without regular appearances could damage his confidence and his standing with the national team. For the Netherlands, competition is fierce, and Malaysia risks being forgotten if he remains on the bench. It is a high-stakes gamble to stay, train, and hope for a chance that might not come. Tyrell Malaysia is still respected inside the dressing room. Teammates admire his work ethic, his discipline, and his quiet professionalism. Those qualities may help him if injuries or suspensions open a door in Ten Hag's plans. Football is unpredictable. One twist of fate can change everything. If Malaysia stays fit and sharp, he could yet force his way back into contention. But equally, if United continue to strengthen in defense, he could be squeezed out further. His future hangs on both his patience and the manager's trust in moments of need. Tyrell Malaysia faces a critical decision in January. The winter window could bring fresh opportunities, either in England or abroad. If he refuses again, questions will grow about whether he truly wants to leave United. If he accepts, he could rediscover the rhythm that once made him such a promising signing. It's a balance between loyalty to the badge and loyalty to his own career. For now, he remains at Old Trafford, training with the squad but living in uncertainty. The story of his season may depend on what happens in just a few months' time. Tyrell Malaysia's situation highlights the challenges many players face at big clubs. Competition is fierce, chances are limited, and every decision carries weight. By refusing the Upspa, he may have avoided a move that didn't feel right, but he also prolonged the question marks over his future. Supporters are left to wonder if he will fight his way back or fade into the shadows. For Malaysia, the next step must be bold and clear. If he seizes it, he still has time to prove himself as a defender worthy of the Manchester United shirt. Roy Keane has once again made headlines by giving his view on the upcoming Manchester derby, a clash that always sets pulses racing across the city. Appearing on the Stick to Football podcast with Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Ian Wright, and Jill Scott, the former United captain admitted that predicting this particular match was no easy task. But in true Keane fashion, he did not dodge the question. After some hesitation, he stuck his neck out and went for a 1-1 draw, a prediction that immediately sparked debate among both red and blue supporters. For Keane, balance and grit could be the key factors this time. Roy Keane pointed to the unusual position Manchester City find themselves in this season. For the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013, United enter a derby with more points on the board than City. Pep Guardiola's side have stuttered, suffering 2 defeats in their first 3 games and managing only 1 victory. It is a start that has left pundits scratching their heads and given United fans a rare moment of confidence heading into the fixture. Keane was quick to underline that City remained dangerous, but he also stressed that momentum can tilt matches. Roy Keane acknowledged that United have hardly been flying either, but the mood has shifted compared to previous derbies. In his view, Ruben Amorim has instilled a bit more bite into the side, and while they still lack consistency, they have shown signs of fight. The challenge, he argued, is to maintain that intensity against the very best. City may not be firing on all cylinders, but their individual talent can punish lapses in concentration. That's why Keane went for a cautious scoreline. United can compete, but it will take absolute focus to hold out for a draw. Roy Keane's prediction stands in contrast to others around the table. Peter Crouch, analyzing the same fixture, went for a 3-1 win to City, believing Guardiola's men would shake off their early slump. Jamie Carragher leaned towards City as well, while Ian Wright stressed that derbies are notoriously unpredictable. Gary Neville, sitting next to Keane, shared a more cautious view, noting that United often find a way to disrupt City when least expected. The mix of predictions reflected the uncertainty that surrounds this particular derby more than any in recent memory. Roy Keane also referenced the recent battles between Pep Guardiola and Ruben Amorim, a subplot that adds extra intrigue. The two managers have faced each other 5 times, with Guardiola winning twice, Amorim also winning twice, and one match ending in a draw. For Keane, That even record shows United's manager is not intimidated by City's dominance and has tactical ideas that can trouble them. If the trend continues, another draw would only reinforce the notion that Amorim can hold his own against one of the greatest coaches in the game. Roy Keane stressed that, despite the numbers, derbies are about character as much as tactics. He reminded listeners that during his own playing days, form rarely dictated the outcome of these encounters. It was about who wanted it more, who was willing to make the extra tackle, and who could hold their nerve when emotions boiled over. United's players, in his opinion, must embrace the fight and show that the badge still carries weight in these battles. For Keane, heart and desire can level the playing field, even when City boasts superior technical quality. Roy Keane did not shy away from criticizing both sides either. He noted City's slow start, questioning their sharpness and pointing to defensive lapses that are unusual under Guardiola. At the same time, he urged United's squad to cut out silly mistakes, arguing that conceding cheap goals has been their downfall in big games. For him, a 1-1 draw would only be achieved if United remain disciplined at the back and take whatever chances fall their way. Wastefulness in front of goal, he warned, would hand City the advantage. That ruthlessness, he insisted, is non-negotiable. Roy Keane's tone carried both hope and caution. He was upbeat about United having a real chance, but he refused to paint an overly rosy picture. His realism has always been part of his appeal as a pundit. Supporters know that when Keane speaks, he calls it as he sees it, no sugarcoating, no excuses. That authenticity makes his one-to-one prediction resonate. He does not expect a classic display, but rather a gritty contest where both sides cancel each other out. It is the kind of match, he suggested, that reflects the current state of Manchester football. Roy Keane also raised the psychological dimension of the derby. With City chasing points and United looking to prove themselves, both sets of players will feel the weight of expectation. A defeat could deepen City's early season woes, while a loss for United could dent their fragile confidence. In such tight circumstances, Keane argued, pressure can lead to mistakes, and mistakes often decide derbies. His belief is that United's hunger to keep City behind them in the table will be just enough to balance the scales and produce the stalemate he foresees. Roy Keane's prediction, whether right or wrong, has already lit the fuse for the weekend. Fans are debating, pundits are arguing, and players will no doubt hear the noise. That's the power of Keane. Even years after retiring, his words still carry weight in Manchester. For United fans, his faith that they can at least avoid defeat against City is a welcome boost. Whether the game ends 1-1 or swings another way, one thing is certain. The derby remains as fiercely anticipated as ever. And for Keane, it's still the fixture that defines the city. What a roller coaster of news we've had today, United fans. First, the setback for young Kai Rooney was a reminder that football can be cruel, but also that resilience is forged in tough times. Then came the twist in Tyrell Malaysia's future, with the defender refusing another loan and leaving questions hanging over his next steps. And finally, Roy Keane added fuel to the fire ahead of the derby, tipping United to hold City in a result that would shock many. 3 stories, 3 different emotions, but all part of the drama that surrounds Manchester United every single day. So tell me, Reds, do you believe Kai Rooney will come back stronger after his injury layoff, yes or no? Do you think Tyrell Malaysia was right to turn down another loan move, yes or no? And do you share Roy Keane's belief that United can snatch a draw in the derby, yes or no? Your voice matters, and your comments make this community the strongest around. Share your thoughts below, and let the debate continue long after the video ends. Kai Rooney, Tyrell Malaysia, and Roy Keane, 3 names at the heart of today's news. Each story reflects the spirit of this club, fighting back from setbacks, making bold choices about the future, and standing tall in the face of our biggest rivals. United fans, your passion drives the team, and your support never goes unnoticed. Keep the faith, keep the noise, and keep pushing for the badge. Wait, before you go, check out this breaking video from Manchester United.